Perfect. Okay, thank you. Well, thanks. This has been a super interesting forum. My journey with using ChatGPT for teaching began this summer when I discovered its use as a coding co-pilot, and that completely revolutionized my research. That story is another forum, but I realized at that point that for our new course that we were launching this term, which includes a component of coding, that this was something that I could not ignore. So the new course that we put on this year, DV494, which is Applied Econometrics for our International Development MSc students, the course mission statement is really to democratize critical engagement with quantitative causal inference. We accept students with no background in economics and statistics up to students that have MSc degrees in either of those, and really challenge them to engage with the creative analytics of causal inference. But one component of this, in learning to read and critically consume journal articles, is they need to understand the vocabulary, and they need to be able to translate equations and econometrics into an analytical narrative. So this is what the course intends to do. And a component of this is coding exercises, which for this year were optional, and for which we decided to use ChatGPT as, I think several of the students have been mentioning this, as sort of a built-in tutor. So, yeah, so one of the, we did this sort of at the last minute this summer, and this whole idea of integrating ChatGPT to help teach coding. And remember, I think a salient feature of this is that our students come from many different backgrounds. So we have students that are starting off that have never done any coding, don't know any statistics, this is a complete zero starting point. And we have others that have been doing applied research papers as undergraduates. So we shifted very quickly to rewrite the exercises which we were using. And one of the concerns that has come up quite a bit in this forum, which is equality of access, was also a major concern for me. So some of the features of this is that we actually started our own ChatGPT 4 account for the course. So students can go into Moodle, they have to agree to a code of conduct, and then they can sign up for a block of time and have access to ChatGPT 4. So this was an important component of this. And we also rewrote the coding exercises. So to actually more focus on using ChatGPT to do the coding, it pushes the focus to the analytics, to the creative analytics, and away from the syntax of the programming language. It also allowed us to open up the coding exercises. In the past, we've only used Stata because we didn't feel comfortable in our own mastery of R and Python to be able to support students to do the work in those other programming languages. But by using ChatGPT, we could open that up, and we were confident in our ability to support students to use those other languages by using ChatGPT. And we rewrote the exercises themselves to really focus on skills of developing prompts to get ChatGPT to write the code that does the analysis that you want, right? So if we go to the next one, so this is just an example excerpt for our R version of exercise 1, which we actually, went through and did this ourselves, and we saw what the different problems possibly could be. So one comment, which actually was, I think, inaccurate, if several students give the same question to ChatGPT, they do not get the same answer back each time. This goes, it's like one of those Palinko things, it can come out in different places. So, we anticipated some of the problems, especially ChatGPT 3.5 had problems initially working with missing values. So you have to be a little bit aware of what could go wrong, and you have to work with ChatGPT. It doesn't do your job for you, but it's an assistant. And so we helped them sort of go through. We rewrote the exercises. So we can go to the next slide. A feature of having our own course ChatGPT account is that unless students know to delete their chat after they're done using it, I can monitor how they're using ChatGPT. And so this is just an example of all the topics down in the left-hand corner that people were using. I would say 70 or 80% of them were using ChatGPT in exactly the way we were hoping, which is to figure out how to do the coding. A lot of them also, part of the code of conduct was that they could only use ChatGPT for the purposes of DV494. That they cheated a little bit on, but they were using it for some of the other concepts also in our economic development course. And as you can see, occasionally a Christmas song and cast off, also to write poems. I say one of the features of the course is a poetry contest, and we had a lot of ChatGPT or AI generated artistic expression as well, which was actually kind of fun. So if we can go to the next one. So this is just an example. These are a snapshot of all of the topics, and you can actually observe and see how the chats are being used by the students and see the prompts that they're using. You can see where they're going wrong. Some of the students don't they don't have very good skills in generating prompts that will generate the outcome that they want. So you can sort of see where, for the future, we might need to put more energy into helping them leverage this technology to best effect. But most of them, you can see most of the topics are really related to the course content. Towards the end, into December after the course was done, then you get more poetry and stuff. If you next. So we did a baseline survey and a follow-up survey. So there was about 101 students enrolled in the course. We had about a 90% response rate in filling out both the baseline and the follow-up survey. So in one, we asked them to just rate their knowledge of econometrics, and you can see from 1 to 10, most students had about a 4, which is that they've had an undergraduate course. We asked them about their initial skill level in statistical coding. Most of them had a little bit, or almost a third had almost none, and then you have some in the middle. And anyways, as I said, a variety of starting points. Can we go to the next one? We asked about their familiarity with ChatGPT. Again, a big spike at about 2, so a little bit of experience with ChatGPT. And we asked them, how do you feel about the idea of using ChatGPT to write statistical code? How enthusiastic are you? You can see we had a big enthusiasm at the beginning for using ChatGPT to do statistical coding. So, and then this is from our baseline. And then we did a follow-up. We have a bunch of questions on the follow-up. If you could go to the next one. But the salient question is the degree to which they found it useful to develop their coding exercises. I'm also, from the perspective of the course itself, interested in how well the coding exercises helped them to better deepen their understanding of causal inference and the analytics of causal inference. So that's a different question. So you can see, most of them found it useful or moderately useful. And I should say all of these histograms I produced this morning. I just downloaded the survey from Moodle, in an Excel spreadsheet, as one does, and I just pasted it into ChatGPT. And I said, merge these, and it merged them. And I said, tell me how they responded to question 1. Tell me how they responded to question 2. And it produced these graphs. And as you can see, this one's a bit different because then I went and did something else and came back a couple hours later. And now when I asked it to, it use some different things. So it shows you the heterogeneity of ChatGPT. It's a different color. And then I did something very interesting. Can you go to the next one? Well, it's interesting to me. ChatGPT has 90 data points, 90 students before and after questions. And I thought, I can do statistical analysis or whatever, but I'm just like, let's see what ChatGPT can do. So this was literally 3 hours ago. I'm like, tell me, what are the main determinants of who thought ChatGPT was really useful for coding? So in my own experience, what I found is that ChatGPT was super, super useful because I already knew what I was doing. But I was not that sure if students starting from scratch would find ChatGPT so useful if you don't sort of know the pitfalls and where you're going with coding. So this is sort of an interesting thing. We still haven't, I should add, we haven't merged in their marks. That's going to be the next step, but their marks aren't ready yet. So we'll double check this later. And I had no idea what ChatGPT was going to do. I just told it, analyze this. So go to the next. Uh-oh, can it go to the tippy top? Oops. Will that go away at the top so you can see what it does? Anyway, ChatGPT used machine learning, which miraculously, I know something about machine learning because I taught a week. I forced myself to learn it, to teach a week in this course, but I've never actually used machine learning myself. It would have taken, I don't even know how long it would have taken me to figure out how to do machine learning to answer this question, but ChatGPT did it. So this is what it is. In the last 3 hours, and it produced an analysis, and basically it told me that it's really students that have a little bit of initial knowledge that are making the best use of this. So again, it sort of reinforced our concern that maybe starting from scratch, those students are going to need a little bit more support. And those that have a little bit more experience with coding already are the ones that are going to really make the maximum use of ChatGPT in terms of turbocharging their skill level. And so we are going to double check this once we have the marks and see how this all pans out. But that's how we're using ChatGPT for coding in this course.